Hi everyone, welcome back to God's Whispers, a place where we take the time to pause and reflect on the word of the Lord. Today I'm going to be speaking about chapter 13 from the book of Judges, verses 2 through 7. But before I started talking about the passage, I needed to research a little bit more about where the book of Judges fits in to everything in the Bible. So it takes place after Joshua. Joshua had taken over after Moses, but before Israel had kings. So what did that mean? Joshua had already died and the promised land had been settled, but Israel was not yet a unified nation. Instead, they were a loose collection of tribes. There was no central government, no king. So everyone is trying to figure out how to live faithfully and failing. People forgot God, they drifted away, they fell into trouble. So that's when God sends judges. Judge is not like what we know of today in the courtroom. The biblical judges weren't legal officials. They were military leaders, spiritual leaders, instruments that God used to help pull his people back when they strayed. They didn't rule forever. They weren't kings. They were raised up for a particular season, for a particular place, and a specific person, or purpose, excuse me. So there's a pattern that started to form in the book of Judges. Israel is faithful, then Israel turns away from God, they suffer. They cry out to God, Jesus raises up a judge, and then there's peace for a while. And the cycle repeats over and over. So judges can feel a little chaotic because that's what's happening with the people. So here's then what happens in Judges 13. There was a certain man from Zorah, of the clan of Danites, whose name was Manoah. His wife was barren and had borne no children. The angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, "Though you are barren and have had no children, yet you will conceive and bear a son. Now then, be careful to take no wine or strong drink, and to eat nothing unclean. As for the son you will conceive and bear, no razor shall touch his head, for this boy is to be consecrated to God from the womb. It is he who will begin the deliverance of Israel from the power of the Philistines." The woman went and told her husband, "A man of God came to me, and he had the appearance of an angel of God. Terrible indeed. I did not ask him where he came from, nor did he tell me his name. But he said to me, 'You will be with child and will bear a son. So take neither wine nor strong drink, and eat nothing unclean. For the boy shall be consecrated to God from the womb until the day of his death.' And then the woman bore a son and named him Samson." So before Samson ever does anything, before he's born, before he fails and makes mistakes, God is already at work. Samson's parents are struggling. They're childless, and they're living in a time of oppression. And yet God steps in before anyone asks. The angel of the Lord appears to Samson's mother, not to a king, not to a priest, but to a woman living quietly and faithfully in a broken time. And God's message is clear, basically saying, "I see you, I have a plan, I'm already moving." So that's where it kind of relates to us today, because sometimes we think that God only shows up when we have everything figured out. But in Judges, God shows us that he shows up right in the middle of the confusion, the weakness, and the waiting time. Samson will later be flawed, messy, and imperfect, but his story begins with God's initiative, not the human strength. So some journal prompts that would go along with this would be, where in my life do I feel like I'm in the in-between season, not settled, or certain? Am I waiting for God to act when He may already be quietly at work? And how does knowing God worked before Samson's birth change how I view my own story? And then finally, what might faithfulness look like for me right now, even when I don't see the full picture? God doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He works with unfinished stories. He begins His greatest plans before we even realize that we need them. I hope that this message was encouraging to you and inspires you to continue to read more of the book of Judges, just to have some more historical perspective. And don't forget to subscribe so you can continue to hear God's whispers.